Hey guys, it's Tim. Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. Your first time live stream? Welcome. On these live streams, interact with you, the fans. We talk about truck stuff. We do different things. Drinking water tonight. Sorry, no whiskey tonight. I have Cub Scouts later. And we talk about things happening on the channel and get your feedback on trucks, things you want to discuss. So I'm a little technology limited tonight. I killed my phone today. I have all sorts of stuff going on. Hopefully you can hear me well, and let me know in the comments you can or not. And I'm going to try to look at this camera over here. That's what I'm looking at. But I'm looking at my screen too to keep track of the comments. And I got to first find where we're at on this channel because it takes me a little bit to figure out where I'm live. Hey, Gene's here. Hey, Eric is here. We hear ya. And no, I don't want TFL now. So let me switch my account. Hey, $10 from Kelly off the bat. Thanks, David. David's here. Nissan Nation Productions. Let's see. Why don't I show up on live? I think I should. There I am. I'm live right there. So let's make sure I'm live. All right. Let me mute myself. Yes, I got all sorts of weird technology going. So the video topic is a little weird. I was trying to figure out how to say it correctly, and what I want to talk about is I was doing a video shoot yesterday in Sioux Falls, and we were talking about. The guy was asking me questions about what's going on. If I could, I'd up Kelly. I would buy a penny. We were talking about the discussion about my job, what I do, and his question was very interesting. He asked me, he says, have you ever changed your opinion of a truck on another year when it comes out? So like if you were doing a 2014, then 2015 come out, have you ever changed your opinion? And he was going with this is that, trucks don't change that often, vehicles don't change that often. So it's like when a truck hasn't changed in several years, how do you think of that truck, and do you change your opinion? I thought it was a pretty interesting question because in my business what happens is I'll see the reveal. I'll be at the auto show, do the reveal. It's like rock music and pomp and circumstance and all stuff going off, and then there's the truck gets unveiled, and then I don't know, maybe 3-4 months later I fly out to an event and they have the truck there, and you have kind of a first taste. So at the reveal at the auto show, you're writing down everything new, you're making notes, you're trying to get everything new. You can't really, my notepad, that's my printing on. You can't really get a good sense of the vehicle because you're so focused on the details. And so when you get the drive event, usually it's someplace pretty cool and you drive around. And so the first drives are always a little bit weird because you're trying to experience the vehicle, everything about the vehicle, but you're also in a new environment, and so you have a lot of things coming at you from like a sensory overload, and you're driving a new terrain, you're trying to follow the road map, you're trying to figure out what the drivetrain is like, you're trying to get a good sense of the vehicle, and so you do the best you can first drives, and then when you get it for a week. When you get it for the week, then you really live with the vehicle. Then that is the real review. That's where you see a lot. What we'll do like first drives, first impressions. Then we live with it for the week, and that's where you make the big impact on what you think of the vehicle. And so, yeah, I think it does change the more you do things. I'm trying to get the light a little bit better. I don't know why I'm all shiny in my face. Yeah, jet lag's involved there too. I mean, there's a lot of factors involved there. Let me turn off the light here. That really impact your first drive impressions. I mean, how tired you are, what the meal you had, how much you're missing your wife and your kids. I mean, there's a lot of factors involved there, and that's just what's going to happen. And so when you get them for the week, it really makes a difference. And this is what a good example of this is the Toyota Tacoma. And it's a good story on this, and I'll just go with me for a little bit. Is that when I drove the Toyota Tacoma, when I saw the Toyota Tacoma get unveiled in Chicago, I was like, wow, it's a new Tacoma, And, I've always thought highly of Tacoma. As a kid, I've always wanted the Tacoma. I mean, it was a cool truck especially back in the 90s. And so I was like, well, I was excited about it. And then I flew to Hawaii and I did a first drive on the side of Maui. That was really cool. I mean, really badass. I had played with it in the dirt, had a lot of fun, had it sideways in the mud. I mean, that was a really good time. And so when I still don't feel like I'm looking at the camera right. Let me look over here. I always want to look here, but it's not there. It's there. And so when I did the Hawaii thing, I mean, that was a really cool event, and that worked out really well. And then I got back, and I got it for a week, and then I thought it was fine. And then I was at dinner one night, and I was it was before I did the YouTube channel, so it was a little bit different time. I was a writer, and you don't read a lot of comments as a writer. And I was at dinner talking to my friends, and they were all bitching about the truck. And these are colleagues in the business, and I was like, what are you complaining about?" And it's the first time I heard somebody criticize the seating position in the Tacoma. I had not heard that before. And I thought the powertrain was fine, but again, I was sideways in Maui. We were in four low, tapping all the torque. I mean, it really wasn't that concerned about that drivetrain. And so when I started looking at as far as my friends' comments, I thought, well, that's kind of strange. I started reading stuff online, and people were really bitching about the Tacoma seating position. And I was like, well, that's kind of strange. And so the the next truck I got a Tacoma maybe a couple months after that. I really was like, well, I got it. And I thought, well, this is fine. I mean, I'm a shorter guy, so it didn't really bug me that much. But I did notice I hit my head. And then the whole week I hit my head a couple times. And I thought, well, that's strange. I don't remember hitting my head much. And I had to think back to the launch. I thought, I did hit my head quite a bit in that Tacoma. So much sensory overload, you didn't even think about it. And so I was like, well, that's kind of strange. I'm hitting my head, and the seating position just is okay. And then I think it was 3 months after that, my wife and I took a trip for a honeymoon kind of thing. Not honeymoon, but a anniversary. And we took a Tacoma camping. And getting into that truck, the whole camping trip, and her in the truck with me, this is the big difference, her in the truck with me. And I started watching her get in and out, and I noticed that her and I do the same thing. When we get into Tacoma, we open the door, we put like, let me think how it goes. We kind of take our head forward, and then we kind of tuck our head back and go into the truck. And that's just to not smack our head inside the truck. And I thought, wait a minute here. This is interesting that I've driven this truck many times at this point, done many miles on it, did an overlanding trip with it and all this kind of stuff. And I never noticed the seating position was that terrible. And the overlanding trip was really got me some seating position stuff too, because we drove the 4Runner, the Tundra, and Tacoma back to back to back. And as anybody driven the Tundra and 4Runner, the seating position of those is wildly different than the Tacoma is. And so I guess the long story short is the more I experienced this truck, the more I drove it, the more I used the powertrain, the more hundreds of miles I put on it, the less I liked it. The more I found that the comments are right, that sometimes it is hard to get into that truck. Sometimes the powertrain isn't as much fun to drive as you want it to be. And depending on your composition, like whether you have a long torso, short torso, long legs, short legs, guys over 6 foot have a mixed bag, I would say. I think if you read the comments and any of the Tacoma videos I've done, and you read the comments, it's a mixed bag between whether those guys like the truck or not like the truck. I mean, that's really where it's at. And I thought it was really interesting. I thought it's one of those things where, like, that's a great example of how things can change over time. Now, certain vehicles, I still like the Tundra, even though it's outdated at this point, but I still think it's got a solid powertrain. I got a Power Wagon, a huge fan of the Power Wagon. I've been a fan of Power Wagon for years, and I just really enjoy driving that truck. So, I mean, that doesn't change. The Chevy Silverado, I was excited to drive that first time and do that kind of stuff. And then again, the Ram truck came out, and then that Silverado doesn't look as good. So yeah, I think there is something to be said that, whatever truck I recommend today is probably not the same truck I'm recommend tomorrow, because those things make change. Those things change over time. It's what happens in the job. When you're driving as many new vehicles as I'm driving, you do get to be more picky. You do get to be more critical, and you do get to see things a little bit differently. I still think that some trucks are really good trucks. Ford Ranger, that Ford Ranger video is awesome. I don't know how it keeps going, but like the Ford Ranger, I mean, I've driven that many times, and I'm a big fan of the Ford Ranger. I think it's a great truck. It rides smooth, it got good power, and I was thinking about that with like the Tacoma. When you drive the Tacoma and you drive the Tacoma and drive the Tacoma, you don't experience the other trucks. And so, like, when I go drive the Ford Ranger and I have the EcoBoost in there, and I'm a little more fun off the line and a little smoother ride on the roads, and a little bit easier to get in and out of, it just changes your view of the Tacoma a little bit. So it does impact the job. It does impact you as a journalist. You try to be unbiased as much as you can, but as you drive more and more vehicles, you're going to experience things differently. You're going to have a different opinion on things. So I think it's pretty interesting. It was a really interesting question, and I was 7 hours driving back and forth to Sioux Falls, so plenty of time to think about it. And so I wanted to share with you the audience, that is something that does happen. You will meet journalists who, maybe you read a review of the 2015 model and they're like, oh my god, it's awesome, and then you read a model of the 2017 model and they're like, yeah, it's kind of boring. Well, it's just new vehicles come out, things change, and that's part of the reason why journalists, well, we change our opinions, and we change our opinions as things go, because for us it's a lot of newness, and that's impacts a lot of the truck stuff. It's like a lot of people are really into what's new, what's flashy, what's different. That's, as journalists, you see the same stuff all the time, so you want to see something new, flashy, different. And sometimes disconnect there between you guys and the consumers is that you're seeing things as, oh, that new Silverado is new because you hadn't seen it before, you hadn't done it before, and so there's a lot of differences there that I'm always working hard to try to calm myself down and bring my level of excitement down to more match what you're seeing as a consumer, so that way you're going to get the fairness of, I'm not going to be like, oh, blah blah blah, and it could be a truck you really like or some feature you really like, but I've seen it so many times that it's not as exciting for me. So I really do struggle with that. I really try to make sure that I'm meeting your needs and explaining stuff that's important. So let's get with the let's see, let's get the comments here. So sorry, I have a lot of trouble talking tonight. Paul Beam says, I have a tall torso, 6'2" tall, and I just get my head in first, no issues. Going butt first, and I kinked my neck. Yeah, it's interesting. And I had gotten the chief engineer of the Tacoma at the time, Sheldon Brown, to enter the vehicle and exit the vehicle. And he's built like me, and he does the same thing I do. If you go in butt first, I think you tend to kink your neck and get around. And guys that are taller are like, well, go in either head first or go in leg first. And I'm like, I'm not long enough in torso for my leg out to be able to get in. And so there's been a lot of comments in that video too, and a lot of haterade. All right, so Toyota Tundra or Ram Classic 1500, both outdated. Which we prefer? I'd probably take the Ram Classic at this point. I think they do a good job with that truck, and I think you can get the EcoDiesel with that. You can get different features with that. So I just like choices, and I think the Ram was still a good truck, even though it's the Classic now. I still think to build a good truck, their quality has gotten better. And I would think with that Ram Classic, the quality is going to be as high as they possibly can because that truck's been out for so long. Let's see. Paul Beam, I agree with you. I change my mind on vehicles all the time. I have an illness where I like to buy new vehicles often. I should be a journalist so I can drive them all. Yeah. It's an illness. There's been a lot of conversation about, to get another tangent here, there's been a lot of conversation about journalists owning vehicles. And for the record, I own the 62 Swede, and I owned a Tundra, and we own a Mazda, and we do own vehicles, but I don't currently own a new truck because I drive so many of them. I mean, why would I have a vehicle parked outside my house and pay $400 or $500 a month for it when I can't drive it? And I don't mean I can't drive it. I mean, my job is to drive vehicles, and whether you think that's cool or not, it doesn't matter. It's still a job, right? So I have a 4Runner TRD Pro outside. I need to drive that. Like, that's my job. I need to drive that. So if I bought a new vehicle and I had a truck outside, I'd be splitting my time. I'd have to drive my 62 sometimes. I have to drive my new truck. I have to drive the Prestone truck vehicle, and so it's a challenge for me to put that many time in it because the majority of my job, believe it or not, right here. That's the majority of my job. So it's always funny to get comments like that and talk to people because I wish I could spend all day driving. Like Jill was messaging me earlier, and she's going for a drive today, and she was really excited because she has a Volvo CX-90, and she was like, "Man, I'm gonna go for a drive." I'm like, "Have fun." I'm like, "Cause I'm not leaving the house. I gotta get caught up." And so I do think it's kind of interesting. It's kind of a weird thing that I wish I could drive all day. I wish I could. That's what I could do. But yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens sometimes. It really does happen. And I'm thankful to you guys for letting Jill be a part of this channel. I know in other live streams, I've talked about this before. I've had concerns about having other presenters on the channel. I don't want to be TFL big. I don't have aspirations that big. But I do need her. I need somebody else because she's getting vehicles in Chicago press fleet that I can't get here in Denver, and I think that's the biggest difference. Is she can get the Yukon, I can't get the Yukon. She can get the Volvo XC90, I can't get that vehicle. So I'm glad you guys are nice to her and you're appreciative of what she's doing, because we're gonna have more variety on the channel because of what she can bring to the table, and it frees me up to do more stuff. Like I did a Facebook kind of teaser image in that. Yeah, Jill can get Nissans. I can't get them. Teaser image about the Gullwing Door Silverado I went and saw for the lady in the wheelchair, which the video is processing right now. And so it allows me to go do those fun stories, and then she can do the other stories that I can't quite get to. So I do appreciate you guys being helping me out with that and being okay with that. I really spent a lot of time struggling about that. I really do spend a lot of time. I like her, but I missed a review on the Yukon Suburban trucks. I have reviews coming too, so we're gonna have different vehicles. Do you think that having different drivers to give different viewpoints to the same vehicle would help? Kelly, we're doing that. I have a Honda CRV coming this next week. My plan is to review that with the Mazda to give something a little bit different kind of spin that we have. But I do think about doing a video review against her video review or something like that. So we have some conversations about that. I will still get the Yukon. I still will get the Suburban and the Tahoe. I still will get those because I'm going to do different things with them. And so kind of our pitch to automakers is that we're going to give two different viewpoints on it. One from the city viewpoint and one from like the country viewpoint. So it's going to be a little bit different. And I'm hoping that it comes across in video. And I'm hoping you guys will see our images in the thumbnails and kind of decide, it'll be clear which one you're going to watch. Crazy. So Grant says, crazy that GM releases the Tahoe Yukon Z71 AT4 that doesn't have adaptive cruise available. You have to buy the Denali High Country to get it. You think GM would learn? Really? That is just ridiculous. When I drove that custom Trail Boss to Sioux Falls, 7.5 hours away, I would have loved adaptive cruise. That was I got tired driving that truck. No lane departure, no adaptive cruise, and the video will come out. But it is a lot of those driver assist features on a long road trip. They make a difference. They make a difference. I guess Cody is too young to drive. Cody will love to do this channel. Oh, well, yeah, still get something that's awesome. The tight alley, let's point out her importance of turn radius. Yeah, so Jill, I'm trying to get Jill to bring more of a lifestyle into the reviews. She's working on it. It's a little bit different viewpoint. She's she's more of a journalist than I am. She went to the big school. She's really set in that way. So trying to get her to expand a little bit more out of that. But she lives in Chicago, in a house in Chicago, and she is going to do more of a lifestyle, I think, in that house. So hold on, my wife wants to know what I want from Runza. Let me see if I can answer this. I can't answer that, can I? Let's see. Runza, do you guys know what Runza is? Runza is a fast food restaurant around here. So I have to put my dinner order again, guys. Sorry. So let me fire up Messenger here, and I would like cheeseburger. So I'm gonna do Runza cheeseburger. A Runza cheeseburger. There we go. We'll go for that. Probably should have a salad. Daniel wants to be the CEO of General Motors. Good luck with that. Smart Buy traded my 2017 R1 or F-150. Robert, what'd you trade with? What are you trading with that? Get that. I know. I got to place my order. Sorry, guys. I forgot to do it. I've been busy catching up. Tim, do you think she can do us a snowy blizzard truck review in Chicago? It just depends what happens. Chicago doesn't get as much snow as you think it would be. Let's have Gatorade. We're trying to support the Boy Scouts tonight. They have a runs at night, so you make some money off that. Forget the salad. Just push Sweet around the block. I did my walk this morning, my 3.5 mile walk. So I got my calories in. Calories burned. He went to a 2017 F-150 to a 2020 Tundra. Interesting. So let me ask you this, Robert. This often comes up in these conversations. Did you have problems with your F-150 when you traded it? That's what I want to know. So yeah, so that's kind of on the channel. She's gonna do some more stuff. Brian Finn has been a pretty interesting hit on the channel, or no, he did not. Didn't have a problem. Just traded it up. Interesting. GMC C3, I do not, Daniel. I'm not sure how more I'm going to use Brian Finn. He's been somewhat controversial in the comments. It's been pretty controversial. Tim called sweet so we can have an excuse to buy the Power Wagon. I would love to buy a 1940s Power Wagon, but I do not have time or energy to work on it. I think it's just badass. I love driving them. The newer ones are just cool. I get one every couple of years, and I swear to you that I will go years, never need one, and then I'll get the Power Wagon, and I need to use the winch. That week I have got a winch job I have to get done, and it just happens to fall in that week, and it's usually at the farm, and so I end up having to go to the farm and winch something because I don't know what it is, but I will go forever without needing to use that winch. And all of a sudden I get a Power Wagon in my driveway, and I'm like, oh, yeah, time to use the winch. And it's not like I find something, it's just that it's just something comes up. Tewksbury Driver says, I drove a 2020 F-150 a month ago, not a fan of the 10-speed. Really? I'm hearing sometimes some Ford people don't like the 10-speed, but I thought the GM guys were pretty happy with theirs. But it is interesting that that new 10-speed is having issues. It seems like transmissions are really a problem right now. You got GM with the 8-speed. It's been a pretty much of a dog. You have Toyota Tacoma's 6-speed, which has been really controversial. Guys think there's some problems with that 6-speed. And it seems like, I don't know where we're at the age of transmission issues that's going on, but it seems like that is the biggest issue right now. I'm not seeing and hearing a whole lot of engine issues per se as I was, but a lot of transmission issues, especially the new 8, 9, 10 speeds. And so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. I wonder if it's just a software issue, if it's something else going on, but it could be interesting to see what happens with that. That's why I had a 17 V8 with a 6-speed. Oh, because he had the 10-speed issues. The winch is very cool. The winch, there's always a need for the winch. There is a need for the winch. I was going to say, what else is going on? I'm going hunting in a couple weeks. My brother's coming out for deer hunting. And, yeah, not a lot going on right now. The GMC Hummer will be out next month. And I'm flying to Lake Tahoe to do the Ram TRX drive. And so, yeah, I'm excited for that. Kelly, I've heard some engine issues with the new 7.3 Godzilla. Really? The 7.3 Godzilla already issues? I mean, it's pretty bare bones truck. I mean, the engine, there's not turbos, nothing else in that. Huh. 10-speed isn't a great match with a 5.0 peaky engine. My father owns one. Torque converter always locking and unlocking. I wonder if it's just 10-speed is for a dump truck, 6-speed is for the Plenty Fit pickup. I wonder if there's an issue with the with that as far as when it's going to be, if there are going to be challenges with that, with getting customers used to that transmission shifting, or if it's going to be an issue with getting the software mapping worked out. Could be software mapping. All right. Hey, Brandon's here. Do you think the first gen Cadillac Escalade to be a collectible? Not really. Will New Frontier be released? Daniel Dave was on earlier talking about this. I think he says next month. I'm not really up on Nissan news. Godzilla has some bad spark plug wires. Well, yeah, that was TFL I saw had their issue with theirs. So I didn't know if it was how widespread that is. But yeah, I saw TFL said theirs. Oh, and Brandon's working on an article for me, so that should be interesting. I'd be curious to see what that article turns out to be. Tim, give us your thoughts about Detroit Auto Show moving to September 29th. Here's the thing. From a journalist standpoint, do auto shows even matter? They do matter for consumers. Consumers do like auto shows. But for me, I don't know how many I'm going to go to anymore because this COVID has proven they don't really matter that much. Yeah. The Ram 8-speed seems reliable. Thomas, I agree. I guess I was thinking GM and Ford at the moment. But yeah, and Mike says the same thing. I think once Ram went to ZF, I think it solved a huge chunk of their reliability issues. And so I think it's pretty interesting what that changed. So we'll see what happens with that. Let's see. There's actually a pretty good database out there of places that have 93 octane. Yeah, there's a website for 93 octane too. So Brandon's working on a story on what trucks need premium fuel. And because that's a stickler for me. I really don't like premium fuel in a truck. Just better match for all low-end torque on an EcoBoost. Do you think 2003 Silverado is going to be collectible? I don't know. When you talk about collectible trucks, I've had some friends talk about this. We don't know what's going to be collectible. Auto journalists as a group don't know what's going to be collectible. Maybe Corvettes, Mustangs, right? Clearly that kind of stuff. But trucks-wise, maybe Raptor, TRX, maybe. but I just can't see. I don't know. Oh, got a foot cramp. I don't know of a truck that would be collectible. I guess I don't know what you would collect. Like 80s square bodies are pretty popular right now, but we're talking 40 years ago. So would anybody take the front end of that Chevy Silverado out currently and restore that in 40 years? I think the challenge with the restoration industry is that the newer trucks have so much computers inside of them and electronics that restoring those is going to be really expensive. So I don't know if you're going to have any restoration projects anymore. I'd be curious, guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about restoring newer trucks over 2000s with computers? Do you think we're going to still have restorations, or do you think that industry is going to die? That's going to be interesting, really interesting to see. Teak Sweary driver, I had a 1996 Corvette Grand Sport with 5,000 miles. Sold it. I was afraid to drive it. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that as well. People get these restoration projects, and they're expensive. And you either crash them or you just hold on to them. You sit on them, and then they go to crap, right? Because if you don't drive a vehicle, it doesn't really do it well. So I can see that happening. Absolutely. The best year square bodies was 73, 75 pre-smog. Okay, I'll give you that one. Mike and Heather Rich, we have restored our Avalanche, but there was too much rust. We just bought another one. You would have restored your Avalanche. Yeah, I can see that. I can see the Avalanche being restoration because that vehicle is so unique, right? So I could see that. You still restore the Power Stroke Super Duty 7.3, very good engine. I could see some guys pre-admissions doing that, right? So if a truck was out, diesel truck before emissions came through, I could see that, keep the engine around longer. But again, you gotta get beyond the computers a little bit. I mean, the biggest issue with the restoration is the electronics go bad, and so I can see that being an issue. Paul Beam, I've had that restoration conversation about modern muscle cars. I don't think it happened, honestly. Too much plastic and electronics. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. It always comes up. It's like, how comfortable with older Cadillac Escalades? I don't know. I mean, why would you restore them? I don't. It's a very interesting conversation to have. An interesting restoration some people do is take the square body diesel and stick like a powerful 350 in it. Yeah, because the older square body diesel was a gas hog. I would like restored F Series 94, 95. I can see that. But what's the cost of restoring? Restoring a vehicle is expensive, and so I don't know. It's just interesting. I didn't mean to go off on a whole side tangent, but I thought it was a pretty interesting conversation about what you would restore and what you would do. 12 valve comes as a good restoration project if you find one with the body and frame not rotted too badly. Highly sought after engines. So I guess what we're saying is if the engine or the vehicle is unique, then you'd restore that. But what I found interesting, and somebody commented that my 7.3 Ford 2020 250, it was a 250 video. They said they thought that truck should get better fuel economy in that 7.3 than I did when my test drive was. And I was like, but then they said, well, isn't the best part about this truck is the engine, is that it doesn't have all the bells and whistles and the technology inside the engine, right? So the best part of 7.3 is it doesn't have direct injection, doesn't have a turbo, doesn't have any of that kind of stuff, right? And the guy was like, well, it should get better fuel economy because it doesn't have all that stuff in there. You don't have all this, stuff going on. And I was like, you understand how trucks work. The more direct injection and port injection and turbos and computer and this, that, and the other you put into that, the better fuel economy they get out of that engine. And so when you go backwards in time and you take it all down and you make it non-modern, it gets the fuel economy it used to back in, a little bit better than it did back in the day, but not that much better. I mean, the reality is even though the mass of the vehicle's gone down because of the aluminum on the body panels and things, the truck is lighter. You have more safety technology, and more safety technology in the vehicle adds weight. And so it's still a physics issue of moving energy and mass to a certain destination. And I thought it was pretty interesting. I was like, well, no, the best part of the 7.3 is that the idea is you can work on it, which I don't know if anybody wants to work on a truck anymore because the cost and the knowledge and stuff like that. But it's like, come on, that's why they did it. They didn't do it for fuel economy. That 7.3 is going to be gas hog. It's what's going to be. That's just what's going to happen. But the idea is less moving parts should last longer. So that's what, I thought it was pretty interesting. So Royal says, I was on Friday. I was at the Ford dealership. A guy with 60 miles on a 7.3 Super Duty and had a cracked engine block. Oh no! Was special ordered. Owner was pissed. That's an expensive. That's expensive, big time. Mm. Early Dodge movie Twister. Yeah, I've seen a few of those around here. Definitely unique. Love our '04 Avi. We have upgraded the one we just bought. It's the Avalanche has a huge fan base, and every time I do a video on Avalanche, is huge fans come out for that. The Avalanche is the one truck, and if you're, I'm gonna throw aside Ram Dakota, Dodge Dakota. I'm gonna throw aside GMC Cyclones, Ford Lightning. The Chevy Avalanche is the one truck I do not understand why it's not back in the marketplace. It doesn't make sense to me. If trucks and SUVs are selling so well right now, and the Bronco coming back, and the Blazer kind of did its thing, why is GM not releasing an Avalanche? That makes total sense to me. I have a feeling, I have a real strong suspicion that the GMC Hummer truck and SUV will be Avalanche-ish. That's my sense. I think it's gonna have Avalanche-ish. If you can do the GMC Avalanche or GMC Hummer with the Avalanche midgate and styling, I think you would have a good unique vehicle. It would give them that little bit of extra features that would against competition. So my sense is that's what's going to happen in a month. But I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But the Avalanche is one truck. I don't understand why it's not back in the marketplace. It makes total sense. And as customers are gravitating more towards trucks and that more usability, you can fold on the mid gate, have a longer bed. It makes so much more sense for that truck to come back, and I don't understand why they haven't brought it back. What about Brandon wants to know, what about taking an S10 or first gen Colorado and restoring it with a 5.3 crate? We used to do the V8s in the S10s when I was growing up. Everybody bought a little S10 and put a V8 in it. It was fun. We drove fast, right? But you passed everything except for the gas station, right? You were always getting gas in it. And because the bolts for the, was it the 5.3 back then? Anyways, the engine bolt placement was the same on the V6 as the V8 was. So and the transmission housing, everything just bolted right in. So you literally unbolted the one engine, pulled it out, put the new engine in, and bolted it down, and you were done. That's how that stuff worked back then. And lots of friends did it, and it was a lot of fun. 350, yep. And so we would do it all the time, and just swap them out. And it was, like I said, it was a lot of fun. They drove much faster, but you'd pass everything except the gas station, and you just drove fast. And that's what I learned about driving fast in a truck. It's cool. It really is cool. I like driving fast, but at the end of the day, you put your tools and stuff in the back, and all your stuff ends up in the bed and banging the bed. And how many tailgates we messed up because you throw something back there, you forget you have the 350 in it, and all of a sudden against the back of the tailgate. Customers did it. A few customers at work have restored mid-90s 5.9. They get over 20 miles per gallon too. Really? Okay. All right. Interesting. That's why we bought our 04. Don't need good fuel economy. We just need a versatile truck that's easy to work on. And that's one of the arguments of newer trucks is that they're so focused on better fuel economy that the repairability has gone the other way. So it's like a tandem thing where if fuel economy goes up, harder to work on. Easier to work on, fuel economy goes down, right? So it's kind of that what's happening, and with EPA and CAFE limits going out there, and people really wanting more fuel economy, it seems like that is the biggest issue. Nostalgia and memories of your life with a truck before you sold it. Yeah. Let's see. A rare one might be the 8.1 Vortec from the Chevy Heavy Duty 2000s. I have a friend who has one of those, and it's a big beastly engine. It's huge. But it's not huge, but it's a big number. And so it's fun to, I don't know if he's told me about it, but I don't think he's ever seen it in person, but he got one. Michael S. Looking getting truck, think Silverado 1500, 2006 or earlier, don't want to deal with the AFM. Yeah, I've heard some people talk about AFM as far as using oil, and I've talked to GM engineers about this, and I don't know, it seems like it's something you read on the forums quite a bit, and I don't know, some people have a problem with it. Some people don't. Yeah, I hear you there. Bright Red smooth ride and avalanche. The rear coils. I think rear coils are going to make more of a comeback as well, with Chevy trucks too, because it seems like that independent rear suspension that I was hoping Jill would talk a little more about in the Yukon video, and I can't wait to get one to try out that independent rear suspension. I think the days of a solid axle rear suspension are coming to a close. I think they are. With I don't know if trucks just yet, but I do think with full size SUVs definitely making a difference. People want ride quality. You can blow me up in the comments. You can call me a puss. All this kind of stuff in the comments you want to do. But at the end of the day, consumers are driving demand. And consumers are saying they want ride quality, and they really do. And so if you look at what their top buying reasons are, there's a reason why they keep asking for better and better ride quality. Um, I can see that, Avalanche. Yeah. Ram has a proven two truck strategy. It works. Agreed. Hummer Avalanche was way ahead of its time. Do you think the Avalanche styling? Tim? If you like the Avalanche styling, what do you think of the Gen One Ridgeline? My neighbor 3 doors down has a Gen One Ridgeline, and every time it passes, I just think it's the ugliest thing that's driving down the road. It's just weird. But he likes it, and hey, if he likes it, that's fine. It's not my cup of tea. Avalanche was available in 3/4 ton at one point. Really? I have a heavy duty story for you, Brandon. I got some comments in my Facebook. If you want to go down the heavy duty rabbit hole, hit me up on Facebook and I will send you the story idea. I also love the Cadillac Escalade EXT. I think the 5.3 will become the new 350 eventually restorations. It's wide available like at 350. Yeah, I think the 5.3 will get there too. I think that's what's going to happen. HE Suburbans, they made ones. Is that two? They made everything optional 3/4 ton back then. Yeah. So there's a story there somewhere about where, or anyways, hit me up. It's a really interesting story. Trucks could go coil spring solid rear axle before independent. Yeah, I mean, I just think that I don't know if trucks are there yet, but I think full size SUVs are getting there. Micah, on Car Complaints, Silverado shows more complaints to engineer than Tahoe same year. Why? Like the Tahoe, but not sure why. I'm gonna say, and my theory is sales volume. And so a lot of times when you see on car complaints and stuff, it's one of the things I talk about when I sometimes do reliability, is volume. So Silverado sells 10-1 over Tahoe, and so you're just going to have more problems statistically because you have more volume versus the Tahoe. Yeah, show me a level of like. Boy, there's a major lawsuit in GM Chevrolet for the 8-speed. There's a lot. Purnell's right. There's a lot of hate for the 8-speed. And I've driven it, and I didn't think anything of it. But again, I have for a week. I'm driving 200 miles, 300 miles with it. Not as much as you guys are as owners. And I am not hearing anything good on that as well. So that'd be something to think about, Michael, when you talk about your 2006. I don't think the 8-speed was back then. I think it was a 6-speed, maybe 2006, maybe 6-speed. And so I would maybe, I don't know. Yeah, so Brandon talks about it could be the 8-speed worked harder in Tahoe. Maybe they towed more with that. I'm not sure, but I would be cautious about the 8-speed. I would be really cautious about the 8-speed. So there you go. Caught up in the comments. 5 F-150 6.2 FX4. 6.2. Must be an older truck. I don't know where the 6.2. Maybe I'm missing something. Because there's a 5.0 was the gas. 6.2. Oh, 2014. That's a little before my time. Sorry, John. I've been driving them for about 8 years, but I didn't do many Fords back in the day. So I've only had Ford now. Let's see. This is 2020. I've only had Fords now for probably the last 5 years. I've been driving them around. So I would have to go to carcomplaints.com and check out that stuff and some forums and stuff before I get back to you on like a reliability issue and what customers are saying. And I had to go back and read some of my reviews from other people. I don't remember. I don't recall driving that. I hate to give you information that's inaccurate, so I'm going to tell you right now, I don't recall driving that. It's interesting that GM offers the 5.3 with a 6-speed and 10-speed in addition to 8-speed. You know the problem with the 8. Well, I mean, I think they're different customers there too. Work truck customers, they want less speeds. They don't need the big highway speeds. They don't need that stuff. And so, I don't know. It could be interesting. Oh, Mike says bomb-proof engine. There you go. We helped you out, John. We helped you out here on the live stream. I would love to give you more information. I just don't have it. I love the all-new Yukon Denali, but don't like the Tahoe. Juan, you are an interesting character. it is interesting on the it's interesting that GM offers transmissions, but also it's interesting they offer the active fuel management on the work trucks and dynamic fuel management on the newer truck the consumer trucks, and so it's pretty interesting what difference going on. No, I'm all right. No, I'm fine. Sorry, I have to respond to the wife here. Let's see. Tim, what do you think of the large towing increases for 2021 2.7 and 3.0 without any changes? Yeah, now it tows like 9,000 pounds, something like that. I was thinking, and I need to ask some questions on this because it's really bizarre they went that large. Typically, when you do that, either you're adding another leaf spring, you're adding another U-joint, you're adding, I used to say shocks, I was wrong there, but either you're adding something different or you're finding a better way to cool the transmission. And that's something that a lot of times they do is they'll find a way to cool the transmission more because the Davis Dam test with J2807 standards is that you're supposed to go to a set speed for so long at a certain engine temperature and transmission temperature, and that relates to your overall max towing. And so when you exceed that temperature, you can't tow that much because it's got to be the safe zone. All these engineers got to decide what the safe zone was for consumers. And so all new trucks are J2807 standard certified. And so they had to find a way to cool the transmission better. And so what I wonder if some supplier came up with a part that was better, if they engineering found another way to cool the transmission more efficiently. I'm assuming they use I talked to Chevy and the transmission oil cooler was standard on all their trucks and all their engines. So they've had that before. So unless that transmission oil cooler became a better and they improved that. But yeah, I don't have an answer to that. That was kind of surprising. I think they came out yesterday, I think it was. I was driving all day. I was kind of catching the news. But yeah, I did find it interesting, and I don't have an answer for you on why they came out with that. Now, did GM do no testing when they came out? No. So automakers always do testing. It's why the Toyota Tundra lost the transmission oil cooler was because they're always testing at Davis Dam. They're always trying new things. Even though the truck's out, they're always trying new things because, why not improve it as they're working on it? So they have engineers who work on consumer problems and customer problems come up, and they have engineers who constantly work on newer trucks to improve fuel economy, to improve towing, all that kind of stuff. These two groups working different ways, and so what I imagined happened was I imagine an engineer figured out on the new truck side ways to improve it, or maybe they just did a testing a better day or something. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. It used to be a thing back in the day. Used to call it magic towing dust, fairy dust. We used to call it, where all of a sudden Ford would come out with their numbers, they'd be 100 pounds more than GM that just came out 2 months ago. And it was always called like magical fairy dust. They sprinkle out, and all of a sudden, oh, you can tow 100 pounds more. And now they went to J2807 standards. That has gone away. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with that as far as towing and towing numbers. It's just be interesting. Yeah, it's just odd they didn't make any changes to get the additional towing. It is odd. It is very odd that they released that information, and I didn't hear any good reasons behind it. I'm gonna have to double check with those guys. I'm gonna have to double check with those guys definitely as well. Dun, dun, dun. Bearded Honda. That's a cool little emoji, like not emoji, but the character you got there. If you had to buy a truck tomorrow, full-size crew cab daily driver to go with, don't plan on towing more than 6,000 pounds occasionally. Let's see. What would I go with tomorrow? I wouldn't go with Ford tomorrow. Not that I don't like Ford at all. Not that I don't like them at all. It's that 2021's coming out. So wait till 2021 comes out. I'm gonna see what that truck looks like. I want to get in it. I know they changed the front end a little bit, and the Power Boost is an interesting option. And I want to see what the pricing is for that, so it's going to be interesting what's going to happen there. Would I go Ram 1500? Ram has made it every year more and more durable. I think Ram's one of the best trucks out there as far as features and style. And so if they keep getting more and more reliable, tough to beat those guys. I think the Silverado, I like the Silverado. I've driven that many times. It's a good-looking truck. I like it in the RST trim and the LTZ trim. High country, a little bit iffy about. The 5.3 is a pretty good engine. The 2.7 is probably, and I've said this in the video, the 2.7 is probably better for my driving because I'm not towing that often, and it's a little bit more fun to drive than the 5.3 liter V8. And so it's gonna be. I would gonna go that route. I like the 6.2. I've had friends do the 6.2, but only 6,000 pounds. I wouldn't do 6.2. I wouldn't do that at all in that configuration. The GMC Sierra I think is a better looking truck than the Chevy Silverado, but I would think that both those interiors take a second seat to the Ram interiors. So if the interior is a big thing for you, I think Ram interiors would be kind of the way to go. I don't know if you're thinking off-road or not, but off-road is going to be the coil link suspension is pretty good on the Ram off-road, and air suspension is pretty damn cool. The Silverado, the Trail Boss is a great package. Skid plates, 2-inch lift, bigger tires. It's a cool thing. And Toyota Tundra is still a very, very reliable truck, and a truck I look forward to driving every time I get one. A little bit aged as far as interior, and kind of like, not getting there as far as what's going on. So yeah, I think I would go that route. I have never driven a Nissan Titan. I can't get one for a reason, and so I would lean to Ram today. If I were to buy one tomorrow, I'd look at Ram pretty hard. There's a lot I like about that truck. Frontline Grill, talked about that. Shame they stopped putting in an F-150 2014. You can get an XLT. Oh, we're talking about that engine again. Much nicer than Tahoe. I just don't buy the claim that further testing shows a massive increase in towing. That's why Brandon is becoming a journalist, because he has these things. GM needs to bring back this 8.1 Vortec. Yeah, they could, but I mean, that's a lot of displacement these days. I'm not a GMC guy, but I also love the way the outside of the 2020 GMC Sierra Denali HD looks. The interior is okay, but I still like it. Yeah, I could see that. E. Roseberry, Tremor versus FX4 and F250. Interesting question. The Tremor's got So to me, the Tremor's kind of like the Trail Boss and the Z71, right? So Z71 skid plates and Rancher shocks, and then Trail Boss you get the lift and you get a little more features there. So I think that's the same. So I would say it depends how much off-roading you plan on doing. I thought the Tremor rode better than the stock F250, but I haven't driven the FX4 version to see how the ride quality is anything different. So, Ford's got the solid front and solid rear axle, and there's a lot of weight there, and it's not a great riding truck, and that's okay. That's okay. Don't blast me in the comments for this. Just that's the way it is. So I would check price, and I would check as far as ride comfort, drive them around a little bit, see how you like them. But I think the Tremor, for me, I think the Tremor is more than what I would need. I'll just say it. And so I'd go FX4 because I think the Tremor is more than I would need. It's just odd they make changes, additional towing. I see the most durable. You guys talking about that? I was a little surprised the 2021 F1500 did not get the additional step from the heavy duty. Oh, the side bed step. I was too. I think it's a no-brainer, but I think it's probably a byproduct of waiting for a bigger change, maybe bigger model year change. I saw a convoy of Silverados and GMCs getting tested, and I was like, I saw to buy the photos. I was like, I'm not going to buy them because they're just driving around with camouflage on them. So maybe they're working on it. Maybe it just was too soon. COVID really messed up a lot of new vehicles coming out. So maybe they had the plans to do it, and they had to cut what they could. New GMC 2.7 going 10-speed now, 2021. I'd have to check the stuff, Purnell. Like I said, I was driving all yesterday. I did not see the stuff, but I would think that probably the case. That 10-speed is probably going to become the standard stuff the lineup. I think they're doing 6 and 8-speed, trying to get rid of some of those transmissions before they transferred over, and probably a little bit of capacity issues as well. Joseph, I have video evidence of my transmission with hard shift that I should show to the GM. Should I show that General Motors, or should I call GM directly and it's 8-speed? It's really, Joseph, you're at the point where you need to talk through the dealer. It's just the way things are made. You can call GM customer care, and they will send you to the dealer, and dealer will see it and send it to customer care. That's just the game they play. Is that's where they're at with that. So I would start with your dealer first because that makes more sense to me than starting with GM customer care. But a lot of guys will do GM customer care first, and they'll just push it to a dealer. I mean, that's how the system is set up. Um, so new trucks change. So do new trucks change your opinion year after year? Yeah, they do, Kelly. Answer that question. They do because a new truck would come out. Again, a good example was Silverado. So when Silverado came out, I was like, oh, this is a good looking truck. And then Ram came out too. It was like, holy cow, boom. And now F-150 comes out. It's like, wow, F-150 is now top of the heap. Like I just said, Ram was the best truck I'd buy today if I had to buy a truck tomorrow. But F-150 comes out, and this comes out, and that comes out. So yeah, I'm always looking at new stuff because I'm always driving new stuff. So it does change my opinion. And while the Silverado was a great truck, and it still is a good truck, it's just in my mind, I have some of these others newer trucks coming out, new features and stuff. It's really hard to keep my opinion the same when all that stuff changes. So it does make a difference. What do you think of the new current 4.3 liter V6? I have not driven it, bud guy. I'm sorry, I haven't driven it. I can't find that truck because that engine is in the commercial trucks, and the consumer trucks get 2.7, 5.3, and they get the 6.2. And so it's hard for me to get commercial trucks. It's just not a big fleet for that, and nobody really covers it really well. And it's just, there's not a lot of energy behind those. 5-speed manual and GOAT and GM pickup trucks. 1500. Oh, Gene, what are you looking forward to more in your press trip? Driving, jumping the Ram, or talking to engineers deep info? Ooh. Joseph, did the GM change the front end for the 2021 trucks? I don't believe they did. I think it was just towing and the multi-flex tailgate that they're calling it these days. I think it'd be talking to engineers. I just really, I mean, jumping and going fast is fun, and any guy can do that. And I enjoy going fast. I enjoy the Hans device and the helmet and going crazy, and it's a good time. I mean, come on, it's a good time. But I really get a lot of value out of talking to engineers because I like learning the little details on things that maybe you guys need to know. That you guys, like. I love the fact that I'm the only journalist that did the Silverado 3-liter diesel deep dive with the wet belt in the rear for the oil pump. I like that. I like that you guys can find a video for that on my channel and make a decision for yourself. So I think that is critical for the job I do. I think that's kind of my in. If I were to talk about the marketplace, would that be my in? And so. It's not marketplace, but my in for as far as auto journalists is that you can get those details, other people can't get them. I was the only one that broke the story on the fact that the Honda Ridgeline has a frame. I was the only one that broke the story on there's a heat shield in the rear of the engine of the Toyota Tacoma where they put the catalytic converter in behind the engine to stop people from cutting off catalytic converter on Toyota Tacoma and stealing it. So, I mean, those are the stories I like doing. That's my kind of journalism. Yeah. I'll let the big outlets just do the fun in the desert all day kind of stuff. But I think customers are already planning on doing that. They really want to know. They want to know the deep dive information. So that's what I like doing. That's what I really enjoy doing. And so I think for me, it's talking to engineers. I just like that deep dive information. 62 was the first gen Raptor mower. Ah, there it is. They put them in limited. I see now. I'm sorry. I drove the first gen Raptor a couple times. Again, that was before Ford and I were really getting along and doing stuff. So I don't have knowledge on that as much as I want to. I keep trying to get more knowledge, guys. I like knowledge. 2021 Chevy Silverado regular cab, long box, getting 2.7. Interesting. With the EcoBoost GS first gen, they have it sorted out. Long story. Chassis was wise, heavier running gear. Oh, there's conversations about that. Guys, when did the Ram Heavy Duty 2021 online configurator go live? I don't know. Interesting. You guys have so many interesting questions tonight. The Tremor is direct competitor to Tacoma TRD Pro in the Ranger. The Ranger, yeah, absolutely. That'd be the case. Ford has done the least of the OEMs to improve heavy-duty ride quality. I agree with that. Front hubs operate in a vacuum pressure and it's known issue. System around forever. Michael S. I'm a poor disabled vet who wants a truck. Cool, and thank you for your service. I'm probably looking at 2010-ish. Is Chevy the only good option? In 2010, you can go Tundra. That was a good, reliable truck back then. Chevy is one of the more reliable trucks out there from my analysis. It's still a good, reliable truck. I have a lot of friends who bought Rams in that model year and those model years, and they're always working on them. And I've had a few Fords here and there that do pretty well. But if I were to go one of the big threes, I would go Chevy. I just think, and I'm a big reliability guy, and so I have to understand that. But I think the Chevy, when you drive around the old farmer lots, you drive around the old places I get out here, I see a lot of old Chevys. I just see a lot of old Chevys. You know, it just seems like that truck lasts like a rock. All right. But anyway, the Tundra is a good choice too. Tundra and the Chevy, also Nissan Titan from those model years. Nissan Titan those model years was pretty interesting. Ram with coil springs and GM's independent front are huge ride quality features for the heavy duties. Yeah, and I don't know why I take so much crap about that as far as ride quality. I'm not customers demanding it. Saw the new unveiled Kia Sorento. Kia is absolutely killing it. I saw that too. We ran the story on pickuptrucktalk.com. Jill did the behind the scenes on that, and it reminds me of the older Pathfinder a little bit. A little Pathfinder in it. Let's see. Any knowledge on Oh, you guys still talking? Nope. Depreciation was strong. Da, da, da. So, Mike and Heather Rich, we're looking to replace our '08 Suburban. Looks like we need to check out the Sorento. I have friends who love theirs. I've driven the Kia. Used to be when I was growing up. The problem with Kia was the badge in the front. It said Kia. That was a problem. But I would tell you this, that their quality has really improved and their products have really improved as well. So if you're looking for a vehicle, Kia's a pretty good option. We actually looked for one before we bought our Mazda, and it was a tough choice. We looked at those. So I would not. And Kia's got a really good warranty, a really long warranty. That's one of the benefits of the Kia. 6.2 is rare enough. You need to pay a bit premium there. Oh yeah. You're probably gonna have to with the Kia. Oh, good point. Kia Telluride over the Suburban. That's a good point. If you need the room. Jim Tudor, one of those old farts who enjoys reliability of the Tundra. Hey, I'm with you. I like reliability too. I'm not knocking it at all. It's just, like I said, reliability is really important on that thing. I keep playing with that damn thing. TRX Raptor Easter egg is awesome. I know. I can't wait to take some videos of that and photo. I want to see it. I don't like Tesla, but pretty cool. Hey, Rick N is here. Wow, you're live tonight. I'm just checking in. Good ding on my part. Good. Rick, I hope you're still on this thing. Jill and I, my new managing editor at pickuptrucktalk.com, who's done some videos on this channel, Jill and I talked today about a Ford Explorer ST. He's been hit. If you don't know, Rick's been blowing me up in the comments to get this Ford Explorer ST review, and I cannot get one. There's no Ford Explorer within 4 hours of me. Jill thinks she has some contacts in Chicago, and she's got a bigger fleet in Chicago. And so she was talking about reaching out to her dealer friends, doing some research, trying to find one. And so we are actively trying to find a Ford Explorer. We're trying because they are hard to find, and it's hard to buy. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's really an interesting going on trying to find one. So we talked about that today. We're focusing on it. I'll remind Jill about it next time I talk to her. But yeah, we're both working together to try to find one of these things. We bought I'm getting behind. We bought a Lexus RX as a go-between. Okay. Go smaller family or 5 until we decide the next one to replace the Burb. We buy used, so I'd have to be a few years old. The Lexus RX is pretty reliable, absolutely. So I would... Kia's going to be pretty reliable, too, with the new stuff. Yeah, I need to shop around. I would love the Tundra, but Toyota keeps value so much. 2,000 miles, yeah. Sorry, Tim, got chit chat in here. That's your job. No, Mike, you're fine. It's been fun to watch in between the comments. You're doing a good job. All Chevys are great, but don't put your money on the new model. Rick N says. Mike and Heather Rich, we're trying to decide between a Lexus GX or LX, a Sequoia, a Suburban, or a Pilot. Wow, interesting choices there. But you're talking a couple years old. Suburban for the room, Sequoia for reliability, Lexus for the ride comfort and reliability. GX is a pretty damn capable little vehicle, but it's pretty small. And Honda Pilot's pretty reliable and actually does a pretty good job. It's just pretty blah as far as the vehicle goes. There you go. People rip on GM for lack of innovation, but kind of kept them fairly reliable. Yeah. Do you think the new multi-flex tailgate will fit on a 2020 Silverado? I've heard that you can. I've heard that those tailgates, you can swap them. Kia's killing it. Hired former audio engineers, and their designs are spot on. Kia Sorento, amazing vehicle, 290,000 miles. Yay for that. Did you see the 2021 Kia Sorento today's debut on the news market? I did, Christopher. It's on pickuptrucktalk.com. I read Jill's article as just editing it a little bit, and I didn't look at the pictures too closely, but I did see it. Talking about Tesla, I seen a Model Y the other day in the first time. Quite a nice looking vehicle for only fancy half-ton money, not house money like the Model X. Yeah, I hear the Model Y is selling pretty well, and it's keeping Tesla afloat. I was told that they are currently a 3-month wait at Kia Telluride. They should have sold before they hit the lots. Yeah, I have a friend trying to buy one, and he had a hell of a time trying to buy one. Also, there's a really weird smell with those vehicles, too. It's kind of a weird thing. All right, I'm going to wrap up these comments. I'm going to get to my dinner. I enjoy talking about Chevy 3.0 oil pump. Do you think the oil pump change will hurt the resale when we have drop transmission? I don't. I think it much ado about nothing in that if you drive a vehicle 15,000 miles, I mean, once every 10 years, you have to drop transmission. You probably want to go in there anyways and check the timing chain and stuff like that. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it's sure got people butthurt about it. Man, it's people either really hate it or they're okay with it. It's really a controversial issue, and I don't think it's that big. Most customers keep the truck for 10 years. You're gonna sell it. It's that guy's problem. It's not your problem. See? I guess says no. Tesla Titan. Yeah, the multi-flex electric hookups might not work, but I've heard that they fit in. Titan rear seat, check the Carfax, but that's 2,000 miles Kia storage. Later, Tim. Yeah, I'll let you know what you think about the article. What you think about new Chevy commercials? Don't like them at all. I don't really care. Good night. Good night. All right, good night, guys. Thanks for being part of the channel. Thanks for being part of what's going on here. Lots of cool stuff still coming in. And again, you guys make this stuff happen. You guys keep me going, keep me fired up to do this job. Email me at tim@pickuptrucktalk.com. Any comments, concerns? Also, check the website down below. We're doing a lot of work on the website. So, hey, check it out. We're doing a ton. As always, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you down the road.